Who hasn't read The Book Thief? I'm pretty sure it's just me. It's me. I'm the only one. Hi guys, it's Izzy, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about 20 books that I have to get to in 2020 and also a few reading goals for 2020 as well. And these are going to be books that none of them are new releases of 2020. These are all like backlist books, so these are just books that I either know I'm gonna love so I should read them, have had them on my TBR for so long so need to read them, or are really big and really daunting and so therefore I've been putting off reading them due to their size and I need to change that. But first of all, we're going to start off with my reading goals for 2020. I don't really have that many, but here we are. My first goal is to read 100 books. That's what I've set my Goodreads as. I did read 180 books in 2019, so I do feel like that is achievable for me, but I don't want to set myself for like 200 books or something and make myself feel like stressed about reading, because that's never the aim for me, to feel stressed about reading. I read because I love it, and that also kind of feeds into my other goal, is to not put books off because of their size. I think a lot of the time I don't read books because they're so long and I know it's going to take me a while to read them, and I feel like I need to be reading more books. So I guess the idea is quality over quantity, and reading books I know I'm going to love even if they're like 700 pages, and like enjoying them for what they are, rather than feeling like I need to speed through like shorter books to like get through more. So I feel like that's like one of my main goals, is to not like put books off just because they're long and I feel like they're gonna take me too long to read, because that's just stupid, because I can take as long as I need to read a book. And my other main goal is, like I said, I read 180 books last year and I have around 100 unread books on my bookshelf. I have hundreds of books, but I have about 100 unread books, and seeing as I read 180 books last year, my aim is to read all of my unread books this year, not counting any new releases that I buy this year. But I'm not intending to buy any books until May. I've put myself on a book buying ban to try and focus on books that I actually own. I have been reading so many arcs in January, I don't know, I've just been in the mood to do that, and so that's kind of already putting off my main goal, but after I've kind of got through all my outstanding arcs on NetGalley, then I intend to really try and make a dent in my books that I haven't read on my bookshelf. So I mean, I did have like quite a few less unread books, but then I got a lot of books for Christmas, which significantly highered my unread books count. But yeah, and my book goal, which includes the kind of trying to read my bookshelf, is that every time I want to read a new book, I can pick 3 books out of my TBR jar basically and choose one of those 3, and I have to read one of those 3. And I figured just taking one book out of the jar wouldn't really work for me, because I am a bit of a mood reader, and so if I like have to read the one book, then that probably would stop me reading so much. Whereas if I have like 3 options, then I have like more leeway to choose a book I actually am in the mood for. So that's why I've chosen to like choose 3 books instead of just one book. I want to try and read more books out of my comfort zone. I feel like this is probably a goal for most people, but I know what I like, and that is fantasy generally. Either fantasy, hard-hitting contemporaries, or like queer romance. Like those are my those are the books I like to read, and so I kind of want to delve into more genres that I read less of. I do also really love sci-fi, but I've not read nearly as much of it as I would like to, so I really want to focus on sci-fi as a genre this year. And also I kind of want to edge into the horror zone for books. I'm a bit of a scaredy cat. I can't watch horror movies because like seeing things makes me freak out, but like reading them doesn't freak me out nearly as much. So I do want to try and read more horror-ish books. I have already read a horror book this year, so that's already off to a good start. And yeah, I just want to try and explore books that I maybe think that I won't love. I definitely made it a goal in 2019 to make sure I read books that I knew I was going to enjoy, because in 2018 I read so many books that were just popular, and so I read them even though I knew I wasn't really gonna like them, which was just kind of stupid, but I kind of felt like I had to because they were popular, and like I felt like I was missing out, and like if everyone else is reading them, like surely I will enjoy them, but I knew I wouldn't because there were just certain aspects of them that would mean I wouldn't enjoy them. And so in 2019 I really made an effort to not read any books that I didn't think I was going to enjoy. Obviously you end up not enjoying some books just because, but I aimed to choose books I thought I was going to like, and that's the same here. But I do want to try and within the things that I like try and like move around genres a little bit. And I also really want to read one classic book a month for the year because I am not very good at reading classics and I want to make myself read them more, because I recently read Little Women by Louisa May Alcott and I absolutely loved it, and so I think I just need to try and find classics that I know I'm going to enjoy and try and read one every month and get myself into a classic zone where I can find out what classics work for me and what don't. Like I know Charles Dickens doesn't work for me, so I know I'm just not going to read a Charles Dickens book because I know I'm not going to finish it. I'm going to get into a slump and I'm going to hate it. So I think I just need to try and find like classic writers that I enjoy and classic stories that I enjoy. So yeah, those are like my main goals of 2020, and yeah, hopefully I'll be able to stick to those, fingers crossed. And onto the books that I need to read in 2020, because it's criminal that I have not read them. These are in no particular order. I own most of them but not all of them, and yeah, let's get started with the books that I need to read. The first book is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I recently read The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern and it has become my basically favourite book of all time, and I have been hesitant to read The Night Circus because I know it's not going to be as good as The Starless Sea, and I kind of wish I had read this prior to reading The Starless Sea, so I'm kind of annoyed about that, but I do want to check out her other work. This is her only other work, and just see if I enjoy it. I think I need to go in knowing that it's not going to be as good as The Starless Sea and just enjoy it and appreciate it for what it is. And yeah, I just know this is about like magicians and like a travelling circus and like rival magicians or something. I'm not going to be going too in depth into what these books are about. This is just books I need to get to in 2020. So yeah, I really wanted to try out Erin Morgenstern's other work, and also this is just like a classic in books, so yeah. The next book I really want to get to in 2020 is I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver. I've wanted to read this since it came out in like I believe June of 2019, and I haven't been able to get my hands on a copy like anywhere, but I finally tracked one down and I'm super excited to read this. This is a book that is own voices, non-binary rep. The main character is non-binary, and I believe initially they get kicked out from their home when they come out as non-binary, and then it follows the relationship they make with another character and kind of like the romance and finding friendship and a family away from your blood family. So I think it's going to be a really beautiful book, and I really want to read more books with non-binary characters because there are not enough of them, and I want to read the ones that are out there. The next book I really want to get to is Far From the Tree by Robin Benway. This is a book that's about family and adoption, I believe. So yeah, this is a book about family, adoption, siblings, like the relationship between them, the foster system, and yeah, adoption, all that kind of stuff, and I've heard nothing but excellent things about this, and I just feel like it's a book I'm really going to enjoy. The next book I really want to get to is Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare, and this is the first book in the, what is this called? The Dark Artifices? Is that what this is called? Yeah, the Dark Artifices. I don't know, did you say artifices or artificers? Artificers? No idea. And I hated the Mortal Instrument series. I just can't stand it. I finished it, but I hated it. I then last year read The Red Scrolls of Magic by Cassandra Clare, and I loved it. It was one of my favourite books of 2019, and yeah, I was just blown away by it. I had such a good time reading it, and it was great. And so I just kind of want to give Lady Midnight a go to see if this is a series of work that I won't enjoy, or potentially a series of work that I will enjoy. And I just want to give the first book a go to see if maybe Cassandra Clare's writing had matured enough past the Mortal Instrument series to this, or whether it took her till the Red Scrolls of Magic for her writing to click with me. So yeah, I just really want to try this book out and see if it's something I will enjoy. Don't really know what it follows. Looking forward to finding out. The next book I really want to get to is The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. This book has been compared multiple times to the Diviners series, which, if you don't know, is my favourite series of all time, and it's finished. It's come to an end. The last book comes out in February. I got an arc of it, so I have read it. I'm having an existential crisis, so I need something to take its place, and I'm hoping this will do it. I know it follows time travel, like magical powers, magical objects, a group of friends. I don't know, just everything I've heard about it suggests I'm gonna love it, and seeing as the Diviners is now finished, I need something to fill that hole inside of me. So fingers crossed this is gonna do it. And then we've got this chunk of a boy. Look at it. Oh, look at it. Look at that hulking book of, I'm sure, genius. This is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. What I know about this book is war, dragons, female romance, high epic fantasy. Why have I not read it yet? The reason is it's like almost 900 pages, right? Is it? No, it's 800 pages. It's 800 pages. One of the reasons I couldn't read this originally is because I can't hold it up, so I can't read it, and it doesn't fit in my book reader. But I've now bought it on ebook, so I have no excuse left not to read it. I know I'm gonna love it. It's just I have struggles with commitment, and committing myself to an 800-page book is daunting, so I haven't done it yet, but I need to, because I love dragons, I love epic fantasy, and anything with female romance I'll read, so I need to get to it. The next book I really need to get to is Girls of Storm and Shadow by Natasha Nagan. Girls of Paper and Fire was one of my favourite books of 2019, and the sequel came out in November 2019, and I just have not got around to reading it. I haven't had the time, I haven't had like the time to sit down and really enjoy it, and I've just been busy reading arcs and reading Christmassy books and all that kind of stuff that I just haven't got around to this book, and I need to, because I love these characters so much and I want to return to the world, and it is quite long, so I think that's why I've struggled to pick it up a little bit, but it's not that long, so I can read it. I just need to sit down and enjoy it, and yeah, I just haven't, I don't know, I want to love it so much and I want to enjoy it so much that I feel like I have to be in like the right place to read it so that I can fully enjoy it, but that's stupid because I'm never going to be in the right place, so I just need to read it, and I know I'm going to love it, so what am I waiting for? The next book I really need to read is Renegades by Marissa Meyer. This has been on my TBR for so long, it's been on my shelf for so long, I need to get to it. I'm 50-50 about whether I feel like I'm either gonna love this or hate this. An unknown fact about me, well, not completely unknown, but I mean most of you probably don't know this. I am the hardest Marvel stan ever. I am the biggest fan of Marvel movies. I love superheroes. I love Marvel comics. I love superheroes. I'm obsessed with superheroes. It's just my life. It's my life. And there's a book about superheroes that I am not reading. Someone tell me why, please. I don't know much about this except it's about superheroes, and there's like two sides, like the good side and the like anarchists, like rebels, and there's like star-crossed lovers and like secret identities and superpowers. What am I waiting for? The next book I really need to read is The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. I read Mistborn, the first book in this series, in 2018, like summer of 2018, so we're coming up for like a year and a half ago at least. I'm definitely gonna need to read a recap on that book because I don't remember 85% of what happened, but I did really enjoy it. The reason I haven't read this is because I know quite a few people say it suffers from middle book syndrome, but I want to read this book so I can get to the third and final book, and then I can get on to the the spin-off series that I really want to read and I've heard amazing things about. So really this is just a stepping stone, but I know it's going to be a long and kind of boring stepping stone, which is why I haven't read it. But I need to get to those other books, so I just need to make myself read it. This is like the only one where I feel like I'm gonna have to kind of like force myself to read it, but it's a means to an end, so I'm sure it's not like that bad. Like, I'm sure I'm gonna enjoy it. I just tend to struggle with middle books that are slower paced. But yeah, it's a fantasy world where the bad guy won and they all live in terror, and then there are rebels and they try and take him down. It's cool. I love the first books, so I need to get on to the second book and then the third book, which I've heard great things about. So the next book I need to get to is The Lies of Locke, Lamora by Scott Lynch. This is another fantasy series about a group of like criminals that pull off a heist, I'm pretty sure. So it sounds like Six of Crows, which is again one of my favourite series of all time, and this sounds great, and this is like sounds basically like the adult version of it, because Six of Crows is like young adult. So I really want to get to this. It's like a real fantasy like staple for most people. Like, if you like fantasy, you're probably gonna like this book. And yeah, it's just a book I wanted to read for a really long time and I haven't got around to it, and I need to, and I'm like 99% sure I'm gonna be obsessed with it, so I should start reading it. The next book I really want to read is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. This is another fantasy book. Can we tell I'm a fantasy fan? And it's about magic and like an assassin school and war and just like an epic fantasy series. The only thing that's been putting me off so far is I know that it deals with a lot of really dark subject matter, and there's like a lot of trigger warnings for it. So this is one that I do actually need to be in the right headspace for, and so I kind of just need to find the right time to read this, because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love it aside from the like really dark bits. So I might just be able to skip over them, kind of just like skim the really triggering bits. So hopefully I'll be able to get to this because it sounds incredible, and I've heard nothing but good things about like the plot and the characters and everything, and I've heard the second book is really good too, and it just sounds like a really epic fantasy series that I really want to experience, so I need to read it. This book is probably like top of the list of books I need to get to, and that is The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. I've recently found a love for historical fiction that I did not have before. This is a book that takes place in World War II. A family hires a Jewish man, a girl steals books. It's just like a modern classic basically at this point. Who hasn't read The Book Thief? I'm pretty sure it's just me. It's me. I'm the only one. So yeah, I really need to get to this. I know I'm gonna love it because I'm so into historical fiction, and this just sounds incredible, and I know everybody loves it, but it's another chunky book. It's like just under 600 pages. So remember, Izzy, quality over quantity. Remember that rule. wish me luck. The next book I really want to get to is Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. I recently read Strange the Dream in 2018, and then I read the second book. It's a duology, Muse of Nightmares, and that also made it to my favourite books of 2019 list, which was a surprise. And so I wanted to try something else in another series of hers to see if I would enjoy it. I know this book has very mixed responses, like I think you either love it or hate it, but I'm inspired by my love for Muse of Nightmares, and it sounds like it has a really cool premise. I think it involves like chimeras and like different like universes and stuff, so I'm really excited to read it. I really hope I love it and I don't hate it. And then I'm pretty sure this book is just criminal that I haven't read it, and that is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. And on the back it just says, "They killed my mother, they took our magic, they tried to bury us, now we rise." Like, look how cool that looks on the back. Like, we are not playing games. And I've only been put off this by, originally I didn't own it, and then I did, and then Kat from Paperback Dreams I think read it. Someone read it whose like reviews I like trust like implicitly, like we have the exact same taste. I do have the exact same taste as Kat, but it could have been someone else that said that, and they didn't overly enjoy it, and so then I was kind of put off, like maybe I wouldn't enjoy it. But you know, sometimes our tastes differ, and that's good, and so many people love it that I really think it's worth giving it a go. It's a really cool sounding fantasy series, and I just kind of feel like at this point I just need to know like whether I like it or not, because I just want to know what it's all about, why everyone loved it so much. And it's got a cool cover. Again, it's kind of long. I think it's just over 500 pages. Quality over quantity, Izzy. You can do it. I believe in you. Tell me you believe in me down below. I need that moral support. And then the last few books I don't own, but the next one I really want to get to is Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. I actually want to get to both of her books, Everything I Never Told You, I think that's what her other one is called. I've heard excellent things about them. My mum has read both of them and really loved them, and I just think Little Fires Everywhere sounds more like something I would enjoy. This again talks about family, adoption, heritage, all that kind of stuff that I find really fascinating, and I think it makes for really good books. And so I've just heard nothing but good things about this book and about her writing, and I just really want to read it. The next book is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. Again, I'm really into historical fiction now. This is, I believe, taking place in World War II and is about two sisters and their different roles in the war as women, as sisters, etc. I love historical fiction books. I love books that have strong sister relationships or just talk about sibling bonds, especially sisters, and I love looking at kind of like the women's side to different historical moments in history. That was a bad sentence, but yeah, I just have heard nothing but good things about it. It's like a historical fiction must read, and so I really want to get to it. Another historical fiction must read is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This follows Achilles and Patroclus. Patroclus? I have no idea how you say it. I'm gonna need to like listen to the audiobook just so I know how to pronounce his name. And yeah, it's like a retelling, reimagining of the story of Achilles and Patroclus. And I believe they have like a really heartbreaking romance type thing, and I just love ancient Greeks, and anything to do with mythology is my jam, and just Greek mythology is my favourite, as you can tell by the enormous amount of Rick Riordan books I own. These are actually about Norse mythology, but these ones, Greek mythology. I then want to read Howls Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. This I think is like kind of like book that everyone reads in school in America, but I'd never heard of it before BookTube, and so I had never come across it, and I just know that everybody loves it. It's like I think it's like a children's classic, or is it just like a young adult classic? I don't even know. I just know I need to read it. I know it like has so many like emotional attachments for people, and it just sounds like a really moving story that I no pun intended, Howl's moving castle, moving story. I apologise, but I really want to read it. So I also want to read Dress Codes for Small Towns by Courtney C. Stevens. This is mainly because Books and Lala loves it like Kayla loves it, so I really want to read it just because I trust her reviews most of the time. So I feel like this is something I would really enjoy. I think it's kind of like a feminist, like friendship, kind of fitting in type story, and I just really want to give it a go and see what it's about. I then really want to read Red Sister by Mark Lawrence. This is another fantasy series that follows like magical fighting nuns. I'm in. Do I need to say more? Absolutely not. And the final book that I really want to read is Middlegame by Shannon Maguire, but it's so expensive in England. Like, it's literally like £17, which is a lot. Like, I don't think I've spent over like £12 or £13 on a book like ever. So that really like pains me. Like, will I ever part with that much money for one book? I don't know. Hopefully it'll come out in paperback or something and then I can afford it. But it came out last year. It's like a really epic, like twisted fantasy that follows two twins, Roger and Dodger, and I think they like become gods or something, or like they pursue the power of gods, and like it has like alchemy and it's like a mystery, and it just sounds like my perfect book, which I would so love to read, but I just have not got my hands on yet. The rest of them like I can all like find and read, and that's fine, but this one is just elusive to me, and also it's long, and I feel like, I think I've heard it's like very confusing to follow, so you kind of have to pay a lot of attention. So yeah, it's just one I haven't found and I need to concentrate to read. So yes, those are my book reading goals for 2020, and those are the 20 books that I have to get to in 2020. It's so fun saying 2020. It's so much easier than saying 2019, that was so long. No, we're back to 2020. So yeah, those are all the books I'm gonna read in 2020. We'll see at the end of the year whether I've done that. Fingers crossed I have read at least half of these. But yeah, I was planning on maybe doing a 2019 reading stats video and like all the books I read in 2019, so let me know down below if you would like to see that. I don't know if anyone would like to see that. I love stats videos, but I don't know if other people do, so let me know down below if you'd like to see that. Let me know down below what your book that you need to get to in 2020 is, and yes, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful rest of the day, and I will see you in my next video.